Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting. I am Watty and this is Mark. Today we are joined by Chelmsford Chieftains head coach, my boy, Mr. Lewis Clifford. Cliff, thanks for joining 4,000
Welcome.
once again, mate.
Hi, mate. How you doing?
Good, mate. Good. Just back from seeing Mark over in Vienna. Crazy couple of days. You boys have started the season pretty well there in Chelmsford.
Yeah, up and down a little bit, more ups and downs. Obviously, we had a tough weekend just gone. I don't know, obviously, when this video go out, but we just come off the back of probably our worst performance of the season in Streatham. Missing a few, but sort of key players that we're missing. But yeah, no, I think it's taken a while to sort of get my head around it. It's different. It's very different. But yeah, I think the summary of the first part of the season has got to be way more positives than negatives.
You talk about it being different. Obviously, you've been coaching the MK setup. We'll come on to that in a little bit later. But what have you found in major differences? Obviously, other than the fact that we're talking, semi-pro / pro, and then amateur / semi-pro the other way. Different amount of practices a week, more imports, different level of bricks and stuff like that. What's been like the major differences you've found?
I think I don't know. I came in kind of like quite blind to it. Like obviously I brought some guys with me, and I've signed some guys from elsewhere in that league that I knew from sort of competing against, like Jay King, Lackey, those guys. But a lot of the guys were just like a name on a piece of paper to me. And I took advice from people that were there that I sort of trusted, or people around the league. But yeah, I was literally given a piece of paper with like Joe Blogg's £50 and this player like £60. And I was like, I don't know who that person is. So I'm like elite prospects in them and like seeing, what they've done and where they've been and stuff. And yeah, so the first few sessions, I'm like, I hope this guy's all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've just signed him, so you better wheel around out there.
Actually, I think the surprise is, like, obviously I know guys on every team. Like, I've experienced guys on every team there in one way or another over the years. But it's actually, it's not a bad league now, mate.
No, it's good.
Yeah, you probably know more about it than I do over the last few years, because obviously with your brother being in there, you've probably watched a few games. But outside of like a couple of MK games that I've popped down to, which have never been great.
You can't judge anything on MK
like
from
the playoffs. Yeah, like the playoff finals the last couple of years, because obviously it's 5 minutes down the road for me. I was quite like stepping into the unknown, and I think like. It's different. It's just different. Everyone really worked on my old team. Like Lightning, the only players that really didn't work was a couple of students and Stewie, who was obviously a different sort of case altogether. And but so it's not like, oh, I'm not used to working with guys that work. But obviously the money is vastly different. So I have had a couple of times guys say, oh, I've got work on Saturday. And I'm like, I'll pay you £25 a week. What am I going to say about that? Like, so yeah, there is that to get your head around. Like, I spoke to Farney about that before, because I know he'd sort of struggled with that side of it when he was in Streatham, and he said, yeah, well, what do you say to a guy that tells you he's going on holiday, other than, well, you won't get paid that week? You can't say anything. Yeah, so you don't obviously have that kind of professional contract as such for people. So it does change the dynamics a little bit. But I think we've got a pretty committed bunch, to be honest. Anyone who has missed a game has been really quite legit reasons. I mean, either injury, suspension, or genuine work, or obviously like Jordan's just had his baby and he missed a few games there. So that's a little bit different. But nice. It's a good league. It's a good league. I didn't think it was going to be bad. I didn't come in going, it's going to be terrible. I just need to sign a few good players and we'll walk it. I knew it was going to be tough, and I knew I was going to take time to figure it out. I think my first few team talks were like, all right, I've looked at warm-up. They've got this guy, and what I know about them. And then the rest of the guys, you probably know more about them than I do, which was the case. But no, it's been good. I've been enjoying it. Yeah, it's took a while to get my head around it, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good down there. I enjoy it.
How have your games with Invicta been?
We lost in Invicta 4-3, I believe, which was a frustrating one because I don't think we really woke up till the third period. I think we were 3-0 down going into the third. Might have been 3-1, and then we ended up like it's one of those frustrating ones. You both know. Like I felt like if the game went on for another minute or two, we would have tied it up because we were just like pounding the pressure on. But we ran out of time, and we've only got ourselves to blame for not starting on time. And then weekend before last, we played them at home and we beat them like 9-4, I think. But it wasn't really like a 9-4 game. It was like if the game had finished 6-4, I wouldn't have felt hard done by it. And we like popped a couple in the last 5 minutes or so. And it sort of probably skewed it to make it look a little bit more comfortable than it was, I'd say.
Sometimes it's just whoever's the most clinical on the day. It could be a really even. You both had 36 shots, both being each other's end the same amount. Sometimes another team's just a little bit more clinical in front of net. They get the bounces where the next game they might not.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously their rink's a big leveler.
Yeah.
It's tough to play in it. It's tough place to play. And I don't feel that our rink is
it's a fucking shithole.
Yeah, our rink's good. It's nice, but you know, I always feel like I've always coached teams in nice rinks, and no one ever fears like going into them. So, Invicta's tough to go to. We've got to go there a few more times. So, you know, we've got to figure it out like we do every rink in the league.
You have Streatham at the weekend. You've played them twice, beaten once, lost once. What would you say that it was the big factors in between winning the first game and then losing the second game?
So we've now obviously we've played them twice, lost twice. Played 3 times, lost twice.
3 times now.
The first time we played Streatham, all three. Well, sorry, the first 2 home games were both really good games. The game on Saturday was terrible, but that was all on us, not on them. They were both could have gone either way. Both a couple of goals. I think we won by 2, lost by 2. And I think the first time we did a really good job. We were disciplined with obviously like the penalty count and the way we needed to play. And the second time we went 2-0 up and we let it get away from us. Like discipline went out the window. Got behind them, few guys probably trying a bit too much to try and force their way back into the game. And I think we lost 4-2. Whereas, like I said, the first time we kept our discipline, we only killed 1 penalty all night. And against those top teams, you know, Streatham have got a good power play with good players on it. They've got their 5 best players on the ice. We can't be up against that too much because, like, it doesn't matter who I put out there to kill. They're a good team with good power play, well organised and well structured. And if you put yourself behind the 8 ball like that, you get what you deserve, really.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, the big incident in that game saw one of the Bartlett boys get 4-game suspension, bit of a sucker punch on JJ, dumb one to take, like frustration. I know from speaking to you previously, you said the Bartlett boys' discipline's been good up until this point, and then you have this incident. Do you think 4 games was fair? And what was your kind of message to him on the night? Surely you couldn't have been very happy with him.
I think I think 4 games in a previous era is probably what it would have been, right? And what, in my opinion, it probably should be. You know, looking at that incident, as everyone did from a video on Twitter, right,
of course,
it looks bad. It looks terrible, right? Okay. But you have to know the context of the whole game, I think, to make decisions. So the only person who has a feel for that, or should, have a feel for that, is the referee. It's not always the case, as we know. And I think 4 games for that incident probably is right, but it's skewed by what they've given out for other things to other people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've spoken to you. I actually spoke to Morsey the other day at Oxford. Like, what that guy from Oxford got for that thing was a joke, right? Absolutely.
So
like
bad, mate.
you guys have
Oh,
done,
yeah.
yeah, you guys have done it to death. We don't. That's not what I'm on here to talk about. But I'm telling you, there was not one person in the league, player or coach, on any team that thought that was acceptable, right?
Not one.
Like everyone in my team was like looking at it because it came up on a game day when we were on the way to a game. We're all in the room like looking at it on the phone, going, "Where's the hit to the head? Like, what is this?"
It
like,
also, if you're a physical player, Cliff, like me, that might make me a little bit more apprehensive of going into a hit after seeing, fuck me, am I getting 10 for this?
exactly. And so to answer your question, I think it's probably about right when you look at percentages of season, how many games you're missing. Because what I don't think that they have done is gone, well, if you get banned for this incident in the National League, it's X amount of games, and that is X amount of percent of the total season. If you get banned for that in National 1, it's the same amount of games, which is a massive, bigger chunk of the season.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Well,
of course it does, because you play 30 something, they play 54.
Exactly. So
10 games for Flanagan was a third of the season.
Yeah, which not one person. Like I spoke to Morsey after it, and I was like, look, like I don't know what we do, because I'm now worried that one of my guys will get the same penalty for not hitting someone in the head. And I don't know what we do. Like, obviously, I've seen your bits that you've brought out, and quite a few people have stepped away and changed job roles or vacated job roles. I've seen all the clamour for Clouts to get involved. I'd love Clouts to be involved.
Yeah, big advocate.
Like, you know, the amount of conversations I've had with Clouts over the years where he's come over to the bench and gone, Cliff, tell so-and-so to pack it in, like, and he deals with it, you know, like face-to-face, man-to-man. You know, like I've coached teams with Chi and Muzzy and people like that on it. Like, Clouts has their number. He knows exactly what they're up to. Like yourself or your brother or other people. Like, he knows what you're going to do before you do it. And I think Clouts would be an amazing person to take that over, because I don't think, unless you've been in amongst it, which referees very much are, I don't think anyone really understands how it works. Like, you could watch 1,000 games from the stands as a super fan, and I don't think you will ever understand unless you've been in amongst it yourself. So yeah, I think that it needs to be brought more in line. I think the penalties need to be reflective of how many games you play in a season, not, you know, killing guy for half a season for something that's probably a 4 or 6 game ban, which, get your message, miss a couple of weekends, don't do it again, you know. But yeah, I think you asked me at the start, like, how the boys are. The boys are great. They're really good players, actually, and I think that they've probably struggled for a few years of not getting the kind of guidance that they needed. And I think I was probably told things about them and their dad, their mum's heavily involved. Their mum's brilliant. She does so much for us, like, behind the scenes, that I haven't found to be true, because I think I've just got a different personality to maybe the people that have been there before. And I'm there to I take this shit seriously. Do you know what I mean? I'm not there to, you know, I love a Saturday off or a Sunday off, which I didn't have previously, but I'm not there for a jolly. So if we're not going to be serious together as a team, then I won't bother. I'll stay at home on a Saturday and watch football. Do you know what I mean? And the boys have been brilliant, really good. So it's not just them, no, all the guys that were there before. I haven't had opposition. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, we don't want to do it like that. They've all just got on with it and tried to do what I've asked them to the best of their ability. And there's not much more you can ask for, really.
How important was it to bring in the likes of Lorde and King from Basingstoke, JMO? Who else you brung in with you?
So I've got Holden Barnes Garner.
Holden Barnes Garner. That's it.
Yeah.
And Benny.
It's been, well, Lackey as well. Lackey's been
Lackey.
Like, he's the heartbeat of our team. Like, yeah, I think, you know, I didn't hesitate to give Lackey the C straight away, because
good shout.
You know, I've only ever been on the other bench and just been like, why are all my teams so annoyed by this guy? Like,
Always.
yeah, and like, if you can be, well, I don't actually know how tall Lackey is, but there's not much of him. If you can be that small and throw your body around that much, there is no excuse for anyone else on the team. Like, and he gets us going.
I mean, he broke my nose, played pretty fucking good.
Yeah, like, you know, he just gets us going every night, and we really missed him this weekend. And all the others, you know, like, I think it's important that I brought guys in that I've coached before, so like Holds, Benny, Lords, because like they trust me, right? So
yeah,
if there ever was any kickback, you know, as I walk out of the room, which they might be, you know, I don't expect them to snitch on people. They're saying this and that about you, but they would bring the room back in line and go, just fucking trust him and do what he says.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm very much, you know, like, you cannot run a team by committee, right?
No.
You can't have 10 voices telling you to do 10 things. But if you bring me a constructive, like, come say, Cliff, kind of word, sit down, can we try doing it like this because of this, this, and this?
Yeah.
Then I'm all ears, because I don't know everything, Whitey. I'm never going to.
I agree, mate.
So yeah, bringing those guys in has been really important, because the experience they bring, you could just chuck them on the ice in certain situations. You'd have to draw it on a board, you know.
Yeah, they
like,
know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like, and everyone in there, everyone signed from elsewhere has just meshed really well. They're a really quite a tight little group now.
It's a bit of a big signing getting Laude to drop down to that level and, you know, come and go between the pipes. Obviously, I think a big part of that's probably due to the fact Basingstoke shuts. He's having a baby this year. But, I mean, he's a National League goalie player in NHL 1, so it's a legit signing for you guys.
Yeah, I think, if I'm completely honest, I didn't have any idea what to do about a goalie. We had the young lad there, Luca Tassadri was there, and we were kind of waiting for his exam results. And we knew if he got all the results he needed, he'd be going up north, right? But obviously, exam results don't come till August. So
yeah, you're sat there
you
waiting.
know, and if he'd not got what he needed, he would have stayed home in Essex. And he's a real bright prospect, right, Luca? He's going to be really good. He skated with us a little bit in the summer before he went off up north, and I knew I needed someone that I could trust. And straight away, out of others' misfortune, like, I knew I wanted Lords or Metzi, right? Like, because I know them both really well. I've coached them both in the past. I know they're both more than capable, if not would have been the best goalie in the league, you know, whichever one I got.
Yeah.
So I went and spoke to both of them. Metzi shut me down immediately, told me he was retired.
Is that fuck you, bud? Nope.
Yeah. So my list went from 2 to 1 pretty quick. So I got on Geordie's case, and yeah, we are where we are now.
And obviously you get the added benefit of him being Jay King's taxi. So you get Kinger down there.
Because yeah, I didn't expect to sign a fully grown adult that can't drive a car, but you know, I don't actually ask people if they can drive when I sign them in their mid-20s.
But how's Kinger fitting down there? He's a good lad.
He's a good lad, yeah. He's like, do you know what? He's like, I couldn't understand him at first.
Yeah, that's
so he sounds like Lewis Christie when he's drunk. But when he's sober. He took a while to start understanding him. Broad accent and front tooth missing doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
But no, King has been really good for us, really good. And again, he's just like level-headed. Usually got a smile on his face. Keeps things loose in the room, and he's like all the other additions. He's been really good.
How nice is the mix of? Sorry, Mark, go on.
Yeah, you've had Jameson's a new addition, I believe. How was it to have him? I believe, didn't he get player of the game as well? And he's recently just had his jersey retired in MK. Well deserved.
Yeah, obviously, that's what he knows. Like me and Jomo go back all the way, right to the very start.
And Big Paul as well.
Yeah, me and Paul like were really tight. Like, I was best man at his wedding and stuff, and Jimba Lee used to just be like his annoying little brother, right? When I was a kid, Like, and he was annoying, like really annoying. He hasn't really changed his personality since he was like 7 years old. But yeah, like, you know what, he made a decision to retire from hockey, I suppose.
From the National League.
From the National League, and he's still too good to be sitting at home at the weekend. Like,
plenty left to offer, eh?
It took me a while to convince him, and you know, how much or how little we see of him between now and the end of the season, I don't know. It won't be every game, I can tell you that much. But I know he loves it. He loves being around a group of lads having a crack. He still loves the game. And you can see from his performances, he's still got so much to offer. And whilst he's not, you know, the guy I would necessarily imagine being a coach one day, he's really good with players that obviously, well, I say less experienced. Everyone in the league's pretty much less experienced.
Yeah.
But he's really good with guys like that can do with an arm around them and a little bit of advice. And that's invaluable as well, you know, for me. Especially like some of the younger D-men on our team and stuff. I've seen Jimber taking them aside and talking about things, and he's just a great guy to have around and keeps things loose. And you know, he's always had that ability to be the loosest of the loose, and then when business starts, and that's a skill in itself. I think you know what, from guys you've played with and stuff. He's the funnest guy in the room until there's business to be taken care of, and then he's a competitor.
Well, I had Terry Miles for that. Absolute fucking donkey. And then, you know, he's captain and then got on his skate and that was it. Fucking go time.
Yeah, 100%. Those guys are, you know, not all that common, but you need them on every team.
It's spend fucking 3 hours on a bus just having you roaring, fucking sides hurting, pissing around in the locker room, taking the piss out of guys. Right, warm up time.
Yeah,
let's go.
Switch it on.
It's game time. Have you enjoyed like the standard of the hockey? Just, you know, the one maybe 2 games every now and again, but mainly one week, 2 imports. It seems to work quite well.
Yeah, I think this is probably the right level for me now at the moment. Like, I don't want it to be my entire life. Like, I've had that. I had it for a long time. Left it with probably not the best way, not the way I necessarily wanted to leave it. But when I sort of did leave it, I realised like that is actually my life. Like, and there's more important things sometimes going on in your life. And it's just nice to not have 2 games every weekend. It's nice to be able to go out for a roast dinner on a Sunday, or, you know, do something on a Saturday night, go and watch a film or watch a football match or whatever it is. And the standard's not bad. The standard's way good enough to keep me interested.
Yeah.
But not so high like that it has to consume every minute of my day like it probably did previously.
Yeah, that's fair. You talk about not being happy with like the last time we saw you, really. You got released from MK. They decided they were going to go down a different option. Still had, you know, time to go on your contract and stuff like that. Must have been disappointing at the time. Time's passed, you got a new gig, and you know, life moves on. But let's relive that. And how did you feel at the time? And give us your thoughts.
It was tough, mate. I'm not going to lie and pretend it wasn't. I think you know, like I am a firm believer that if you own a club, you can do whatever the hell you want with it, right? You can have whoever you want coaching it, like whoever you want on the microphone on a Saturday night, whoever you want driving the bus. Like, you are the owner of the club, you do what you want with it. And if I owned the club, I'd do what I want with it, right? So I think, you know, I gave a long time of my life to that club, over 10 years as assistant and as a head coach. And I think the way things ended did leave me, I was down for a long time, not going to lie. I certainly didn't want to be in an ice rink for a long time. Probably around about Christmas. So that happened in the May. obviously we won the semi-final on the Saturday, lost to Sheffield on the Sunday in Coventry, and I think I was let go on Thursday, which wasn't great because I still had to like get up like a performing monkey on a Friday at the end of the season party, give out awards, yada yada yada.
That's fucking bush league.
Which wasn't great. I understand probably why it was done so swiftly after the season. I suppose you want a new broom sweeps clean, right? I don't think I probably, I don't have the divine right to walk into any workplace and say I'm staying here forever. So, like, the owners decided it was time to move me on. I think in fact, I do know I deserved probably more than I got with regards the length of service compared to the length of time the conversation took to release me or let me go, and how it was done, over an internet phone call rather than a face-to-face.
Yeah.
It is what it is, mate. I've had to sack players, right? Sacking players is the worst part of coaching, whether they deserve it or not, right? It's the worst. I have done it by phone. I have called people and said, look, mate, you live an hour and a half away. I don't want you to drive here to be called into a meeting to be told to go back home again. So we're letting you go for this reason, and I'll arrange for your kit to be dropped back to you or whatever. I have done that, right? So I'd be a hypocrite to say you have to call someone in face-to-face. I certainly wouldn't sack someone.
I think it's a bit different, though. Like, they own a team in MK. You live in MK.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's meet at fucking Costa and have a conversation face-to-face, man-to-man, as opposed to...
that did leave a bit of taste. I'm not going to lie, pretend it didn't, and that did go on for a while. Like, I was quite down for quite a long time, and probably round about sort of Christmas time, I probably might have thought about coaching again. And I did actually speak to a few people in a few different places, none of which I'll say. And
you ended up doing a showcase with the kids as well, eh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I kind of thought, you know what, if you're bringing a coach in at Christmas or January, like, I'd rather clean up a pile of shit that I've created rather than going in someone else's pile of shit and trying to clean it up, right?
Yeah.
And no one hires a coach in December or January if it's like good stuff that's been going on. So I thought, I'm just going to wait. And then I started speaking to guys from Chelmsford sort of towards the back end of last season. And I just thought, all right, I'll do it. Give it a go. See how it goes. That was literally my attitude. Like, all right, let's just see how it goes. I did the showcase. Yeah, like you said, obviously me and you used to coach together at conference. Showcase is very different, but I thought I should probably get on a bench just a couple of times to see what it's like and like remember how to do it. It was all right. Showcase was okay.
What did you make of the standard? Because I've talked to players that were there that they weren't that impressed. They played in it. I've talked to parents who said, they might have had a kid who was kind of Dougie's age, and now this is little brother's now like U17, and they're like, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
I have lots of bad stuff to say, but not a lot of good stuff. Is there any sort of good stuff that you can kind of comment on?
So I think I see both sides of it, but I think conference, right, when we used to pick teams, was a reward for being good, right?
Of course it was, yeah.
You had to be. Do you remember some of those teams where we were like cutting what is now a really good National League player? Because we had 15 plus 2. I remember having a team with you, and our third line had like Josh Waller and Rio on it, and
that's like, when we sent Tyler Cooper home. He went and played for fucking Shattered St Mary's next year.
Yeah, like I think it was too diluted. That's probably the best word to use. So every team had 4 lines, right? In the younger age groups, I think there was 4 teams of 4 lines. So that's like 80 skaters, right, plus goalies in the younger age groups. And they'd done it on rankings, right? So, like I could rank kids in Milton Keynes, what you could rank kids in Basingstoke. Yeah. I could read, like, because I'd always try and be honest, right? I'm not going to tell anyone a kid's good if he's not good. I could read this criteria very differently to how you did. And I could rank a kid that's not as good as your kid higher than you have. And we're both trying to be honest, right? Yeah. And then throw into the mix, you get coaches that aren't honest, right? That want to make their kids look better than they are.
Well, you said about Waller, mate. I remember when Basingstoke, we had a trial. I don't know if maybe the year before you got there. Yeah. And I had Waller and Matt Howlett the first time I had them. I can't remember if you were there for that second year. And they sent me this kid from fucking Gosport. And back then it was a 1-to-7 system. Yeah. This kid was like fucking 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 7. Milos sends me Howlett and fucking Waller's stats through 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 4, fucking 6. Put them up, and I've got the stats next to each other. This kid's got 1+1 in fucking 19 B League games for Solent, and then you've got like Josh Waller and Matt Howlett who are leading the country, but because you've got Milos doing it, he's going, well, he could cross over better this way. He could shoot a puck on a release quicker on this side. Like he's reviewing it like a hockey guy would. Yeah, and that echoes your point. Like it depends on who's doing these ratings to how relevant they are.
Yeah, and it's the lack of a trial process as well. So it literally was, you rock up and you get given a list of names, right? So they've put them into shirt numbers. So if you're a first line player, you're between like 10 and 19. Second line player between 20 and 29. To like the 3s and 4s, right? So like it's a bit like under 10s, right?
So you're fucking like, if you turn up, you got 59 on your jersey, you're a pigeon.
But it was all wrong because so not on my team, but a player I know really well. So on one of the other teams in my age group was Ollie Nags, right? Yeah. So Ollie Nags is listed as a third line defenseman, like 2 weeks after he got back from playing for GB under 18s. So I've gone to like the people that organised it, and I've been like, how can a GB under 18 be ranked as a third line on a showcase team? There can't be 4 kids on that team better than him on D, because there probably isn't 4 kids in the country that are better than him on D. Yeah. And there's 3 teams there. So my bare minimum, well, it's not that easy because the EIHA can't sort their websites out, but my bare minimum, if I was
their £86,000 website, Cliff.
Yeah, but like that's your area of what you're talking about, websites and how much they cost. Like, but my bare minimum would be getting all the names and putting them in and going, Ollie Nags, let's use him as an example because I'm talking about him. GB under 18 was probably the best player on the MK Thunder last year. Like, has scored for fun in the under 18s, which you can't read too much into that, but you go, well, he's a GB under 18. So he's in the top 6 or 8 defensemen in the country. Otherwise, someone else would have got picked for GB instead of him. So he goes right to the top of the pile. Like, but there was no real logic put into it because I had kids on my 4th line who were playing NIHL 1 and kids on my 2nd line who'd never played any higher than like under 18s league. So it just didn't make a lot of sense, mate. But I get why they do it. So I said I see both sides. I get why they do it. They wanted to expose more kids to it. But I also don't agree with that. I do agree with it, and I don't agree with it because I think conference should be for the elite, right?
It's not a fucking participation tournament.
Exactly.
We have Sheffield tournament, we have Fife tournament, we have Telford tournament, Cardiff tournament. We have participation tournaments. What we don't have is an elite tournament. Well, we did. It was conference. And it was 17 best kids, South, Southwest, Southeast, Southwest, North, Midlands, Scotland. That was a good number, 3-4 lines. I mean, even back then, I used to hate the rule that you used to have to play both goalies. I was like, fuck that. Like, if one guy's way better than the other one doesn't get on.
Yeah.
Like, he's only picked because I have to have 2 goalies. Like, and this was the thing, and they were trying to force well, we need to share, we need to do this. No, this is an elite 15 and 16-year-old. This is the best competition they're going to play all year. They should want to try and win. Yes, it's about GB qualification, try to go trials. But guess what? When you play to win, you play your best fucking hockey.
But the problem you get with that as well is that you're producing kids now, and I know I'm not going to be the only coach that's frustrated with this, who you'll ask them if they want to play, say in Chelmsford, right? You'll ask them if they want to play for the Chieftains at the weekend, and they'll be like, yeah. And when they don't, I never go, oh, you're going to play on the first line. I'll be like, you might get a shift, you might not. You might get 2 to 5 shifts, or 1 per period, or you might not get any. And some of them are brilliant, and they're like, yep, totally, I just want to be there. Great. They're the ones you want, right?
Of course.
And then there's other kids who'll be like, well, I'm not going to come if I'm not going to play. And like, well, you're never going to be a hockey player then, because everyone's done it. Every person has played up to the age group above or to the league above and not got any ice time. Every person who's now getting the ice time has done that at some point in their career. And that is nationwide entitlement, I suppose, for want of a better word. Like they won't come on a bus if they're not going to guarantee to play, or they won't come and sit on a bench for 60 minutes unless they're guaranteed that they're going to get a couple of shifts or be on the 4th line or whatever it is. And that's why I worry a little bit about the future in the country.
I mean, Mark, we spoke about the future before, haven't we? Numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Where, with the way Cliff's talking, kind of echoes what we've spoke about before, doesn't it?
Completely.
You know, you've got
There's nothing I can add to that, yeah.
You got that entitlement where everything's been handed to you. Even a spot at conference essentially has been handed to you. The things that you had to work for before to get. And it's no wonder like Bedard's the best, because he puts the most fucking time in. Yeah. Like, you hear stories about Bedard taking his rollerblades and kit when he was 13 to Mexico on his parents' fucking 2-week holiday because there was no ice rinks and he wanted to skate. Like, there's no secret why the kid went number 1, because he did. Not only was he talented, he did all the hard yards. You can't expect for a player on your team to be out shooting pucks, to be working, to be going to hockey camps, to be developing, to be learning, to extra time on power skate and extra time with personal trainer in the gym, all these different things. And you turn up to practice fucking hour and a half a week and expect to get the same treatment. I'm fucking sorry. Bullshit.
That's the thing as well. I haven't really coached kids so much lately, but when I used to be like calling them in and going, who watches the NHL? And they'll put their hand up. And I'll be like, who's your favourite player? And someone will say, Conor McDavid. I'll be like, right, great example. All you lot, do you know who Conor McDavid is? And they'll go, yeah. But like, when he was whatever age these kids are, 9, I said, I don't know Conor McDavid when he's 9, but I can guarantee you he was probably the hardest working 9-year-old on his team, if not in the world. I said, and when he was 13, he was the hardest working 13-year-old in the world. And that's why he's now the best player in the world.
Yeah, it's not.
And you can sort of see the cogs turning a little bit, and you get a bit of an uplift, and they'll go and like work their bag off for the next 5 minutes of practice. But I don't think, and this isn't a hockey thing, mate. This is me sounding like a cranky old man. This is a societal thing now where everything's someone else's fault. Pathways are laid out for your kids rather than kids finding their own way. If your kid gets in trouble at school, you go and complain to the teacher rather than giving your kid a whack like my mum used to do if I was naughty at school. Do you know what I mean? And that is just, hockey's just one bit of it. Like it's the whole world. You know, working in schools, working anywhere, where you work with kids, it's a problem. It's a problem, and I don't think it's going to get any better. Like I don't think the whole world's going to change because I'm moaning about it.
Not the only one moaning about it. Enough of us are moaning about it, mate. And the thing is, though, what we are going to see is ultimately, if that continues, we'll sit here a decade from now going, remember when our sport in the country used to be this, and then remember it as that, and now look at it, it's fucked.
Yeah,
it'll be soft. You know, soft times make weak men. It's that simple.
I think part of the problem is that it's a cost, mate. You know, you know, like whatever my son plays football, right? Cost me £180 a year for him to play football. For that, he gets training every week, every home game covered, 2 kits, a tracksuit top, and then, you know, for his birthday, he can have a pair of boots and a pair of shin pads or whatever, right? That's it. That's me done, other than petrol to get him there and back, which is all probably within a 10-mile radius of my house in Milton Keynes.
Yeah,
like that's me done for the season. And, you know, some clubs are, you know, I know Milton Keynes Club, that they pay that in 2 months, what I'm paying for the whole year. And yeah, it's a 12-month-a-year commitment. So that's 70 odd pounds a month. I think maybe more. I think it's gone up. I think it's more.
It's like 120 something, mate.
Yeah, and like, and by it being that expensive, which isn't going to change, like you're excluding so much of society from ever being even able to give it a go. Because, you know, like Milton Keynes is a pretty, you know, like everywhere, a bit of a two-tier city, right? You've got the nice areas, you've got the not so nice areas. But I can guarantee if we went into one of the sort of run-down sort of council estates, grabbed loads of kids and gave them access to the same training that a load of kids who live in a massive house with rich parents, the kids from the poor estate would be better hockey players.
Yeah.
Because they've got a bit more about them. They've got
best
a bit
rugby
more
players, best boxers.
And it's that thing, isn't it? It's that access to the sport that prevents it growing. Because unless your parents earn X amount, which is quite a lot now, you're probably never going to be allowed to play it. Because as much as your parents try and do the best for you, it's not accessible to most families.
Well, especially once little Johnny makes conference, and then they go on a Euro trip, and then they get selected for. I don't know what you make of this, Cliff, and you might have a different opinion than I do, but fucking U12, U13, U14 England, get in the fucking bin. No, focus on 15s, 16s, 17s, 18s. That's where the energy, in my opinion, it should be. And by that age, it should be subsidized. Parents shouldn't have to be getting fucking mullered into it.
Yeah, I mean, I see both sides. Like, I know people like you do, that have been to the Quebec Pee-wee.
That's the one that I would maybe go, I'll allow that.
And it's the best experience of their life. You know, like, and, you know, you hear it on like Spitting Chicklets and these other podcasts, like, even guys that have played in the NHL say, like, that was the best tournament I ever played in my life. Like,
I get it. I do get that.
I think giving kids a chance to play in that tournament is great. And if that's been going on, mate, longer than me and you have been playing.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Like, you know, like, I know loads of people that played there and loved it. But I see what you're saying about pushing it at the older age groups, and I do agree. But
that was all self-funded, though, these tournaments.
Yeah, but it's that base, isn't it? It's getting kids in, and it's like that pyramid. You need loads at the bottom to end up with a few good ones at the top, because they drop off or they never quite get good enough or whatever. And it's the access, I think, at the bottom, and how expensive it is to buy a kit, how expensive it is to join a club. What do you get for that? Is it an hour a week? Is it an hour and 45 a week? Is it 2 hours? Like, either way, it's not much per hour. Well, sorry, not many hours per pound.
No, it's really not.
And that's the problem. You know, whether, you know, your little one, if he wants to play, you know, it's the second generation kids we're seeing coming through who are good now. You know, like Sir Danny Myers' kid, Ollie Endicott.
Yeah.
There's loads of them, the Shudra boys, like these boys. But they have got a head start, because it's nothing about DNA. It's nothing about like exposure. It's about their parents will have told them, you got to dig in, you got to go hard, you got to, you know, like, if you're small, you've got to go harder than the big guy on your team. Like, you've got to jump in front of pucks, you've got to do the little things, you've got to chip pucks out, because they've had that education at home that other kids don't get. My parents knew nothing about hockey, absolutely nothing when I started.
That's so difficult to then try and relay information on.
Yeah, but like these kids who are second generation players, like they have got a head start, but it's more of a head start that their parents will teach them the value of the hard work and the graft and the grinding, rather than putting it all on a plate for them and they've got a plastic ice rink in their garden when they're 4 years old. That's not what it's about. It's about the mindset and the attitude.
Well, I'm just picturing if Brody plays, and he's 16 and he gets on the bus and he goes up to Manchester and he comes home and he goes, I didn't get on the ice. I'll be like, fucking sucks to be you, kid. Been there, done that. Shut the fuck up. Go get yourself some food and get to bed. Like,
well, they told me I had to sit at the front of the bus and face the front, and I wasn't allowed.
the whole way.
That's how it goes, kid.
Yeah. Oh, they locked me in the toilet. Yep, that happens as well. Yeah. Suck it up.
I don't think that even happens anymore.
Probably not. Probably not allowed to do anything fun anymore. But do you know what I mean, though? Like that, it's the knowing versus the not knowing. Like if you're like a cricket family, and then all of a sudden you hear about little Johnny getting fucking locked in the toilet by 18 Canadians, you're gonna be like, oh no, we can't be having that. Whereas I'd be like, hey, fucking, was you being gobby? Yeah, well, fucking next time, think twice about what you said.
Yeah, 100%.
Sit on the bus, shut the fuck up, speak when you're spoken to, and guess what? You might learn a thing or two, and guess what? You're gonna have a lot of fun on the way doing it. And you do. It's a rite of passage. I wouldn't have been the player I was if I didn't go through that. Like it's simple.
None of us would, mate.
It puts the whole game into perspective, especially once you get that little bit older. You're now maybe 20, so you're a bit of a 2-year tenure, and then you're 23 and you've been in for like fucking hell. I've been going for like 7-8 years at senior hockey. You can start to see it from all different views, and then obviously you then go on and do coaching on top of that, so you can just see it all the way. And I fear that we do in the want of professionalism, we're kind of losing a bit of the fun, and we're losing hey, I'm a fucking personal trainer. Come off the ice, eat chicken, eat rice, eat broccoli, drink a protein shake. Every now and then, come off, do 3 Jaeger bombs, go to the strippers with the boys, eat a fucking dirty kebab, and then on Tuesday night, get the rookie to hold court, because that's just as important on a changing room than it is to just be protein shakes and fucking chicken and rice all year.
Yeah, I agree. And at the same time, mate, kids need to be kids as well.
Yeah, have fun.
Have
fun. Like, have fun.
Like, how many of us, like people in this country, actually, it'll be like in triple figures. It won't be in quadruple figures. If that might be, well, no, it will be triple figures. But like, how many people actually pay their mortgage from ice hockey in this country? Like,
I bet we could list them. It wouldn't take long.
You know, Brits. I'm only talking about Brits.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet we could list them, and it wouldn't take long.
You got elite league coaches, top end elite league players, couple of very top end national league players. Everyone else is a secondary income, right? So, like, allow your kids to be kids as well, because the chances are they ain't playing in the NHL and bringing home a 700 grand signing bonus when they're 18. Like, the closest we've had is Kirky, right? Kirky is the best thing we've seen since Tony Hand, right? As far as I'm concerned. And we've had some really good players. You know what I mean? You've talked about some of them today. Sammy Duggan, Josh Waller, those kids we used to have in Southwest.
Yeah, great.
Like, we've had some really good players, and Kirky is the closest we've had. When will we get another Kirky? Don't know. There are some good kids about. There are. But I haven't seen one yet at sort of 14, 15 that's doing the things Kirky was doing at 14, 15 in the current sort of crop. And he's got so close, but he's not quite there, right? I'm not saying it's never going to happen. He could go back, sign as a free agent somewhere, do whatever.
But again, that's going to come back to what we've spoken about loads. Hard fucking work.
Which he did. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And but like, allow your kids to be kids, but teach them the value of hard work when they're on the ice. Teach them the value of listening to their coach when they're on the ice. Teach them the value of being a good teammate. Picking up their goalie when he's letting a stinker and giving him a tap on the pads. Like, all of those things. Rather than getting them to do crunches before they go to school in the morning, and like, have them with a personal trainer when they're 10 years old 6 times a week. Like, yeah, they need to know about strength and conditioning. Yeah, they need to be fit, but they're also kids that need to be kids.
Yeah. Which, if you're, I don't know, I know from my friends' kids seem different now than when I was. I spent my whole time outside, either doing those things, crunches, shooting pucks, fucking around, fighting with my brother, or I was outside playing with my mates, riding bikes, playing football, climbing trees, setting shit on fire, being a little prick. Like, but being a kid, like, one of my clients said to me the other day is, Kid's just turned 13, and he's a footballer, Portuguese guy. So he grew up in like round about the fucking slumways in Portugal. You know, like he was in just next door to it. So his area was okay. Next area is a slum. He's like, I just wish my kid would. The fucking police would call me one day and go, he put a window through. Like he did something that a kid that he was used to growing up with. He's like, no. He said, I never hear about him getting in trouble. He never has a fight. He never does anything. He comes home, he plays his PlayStation, he goes to football when he does his football day, he comes to do boxing with you, he does his karate. But other than that, that's like 3 hours a week he's out. He's like, I wish he would just go out and be a fucking kid, like go climb a tree, fall off, break your wrist.
Well, I read something that Nicky Butt, right? So Nicky Butt is coaching in like the Man United Academy. I don't know exactly what his job is. I don't even know if he's still doing it. This was a couple of years ago. And he was saying about got these 18-year-olds who should be like the fittest kids in the country. He's like, they get injured all the time. And someone said to him, why do you think they get injured at the time? He said, they haven't fell out of enough trees in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's like, when I was a kid, I was falling out of trees and off fences all the time. These kids just play on a PlayStation and play football, and that's all they ever do.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
But obviously, we talk about it. Well, we talk about Kirky there. We were at the Czech Extra League at the weekend. It's legit standard. Like, it's a very good standard. But like, try and think of a kid now that could come out of here and go and play in that league.
Yeah, good luck. Really,
like,
good luck at that level.
Did you watch Turkey's team? Or?
No, we watched
Litvinov.
Sorry, Mark,
no, Litvinov's Kirky's team. We saw Kladno.
Right.
Jaromir Jager's team.
Is he still playing?
He wasn't playing.
He's a bit too overweight at the minute. He's gonna try and trim his weight down before he plays again. But he normally does either the qualification rounds or like the relegation rounds to help the team survive.
A couple of years ago, I don't know what you'll probably remember. Do you remember Pete Harava that played for us?
Yeah.
So they had this big. Like, I didn't know where he was. I knew he'd gone back home to play, and where he played for us for the 1 year. And there was this big thing about Jager being back in his hometown team and blah, blah, and he scores this goal. It's on like Twitter or Facebook. He scores this goal. They all start celebrating, and Big Pete's like celebrating with him. I was like, oh, number 7. I was like, it's got to be the same guy. So I quickly put it in Elite Prospects. It was it. And he was class, like Peter Harava. He was way too good for the EPL. Like, he was one of those ones that we had. But yeah, he was. That must have been about 3 years ago now. So he was playing on the team of Jager at the time.
This just popped into my brain. Was you on the MK Golf Day the other day?
I was there. What, the one just recently?
I don't know. I saw pictures and it was like a fucking all-star lineup.
I was there for a little bit. We had a game. So me and Benny popped down.
Oh, no.
So basically, our old physio, a guy called Mark Booth, he owns a place in Milton Keynes called Body Limits. And he was the Lightning physio since Lightning started till probably a couple of years ago. So like we'd have like game day physios, and then we'd have like, if you actually had a proper injury, you'd go see Boofy and he'd fix you.
Yeah.
Like he's like hardcore. I don't want to say exactly what it is because I don't know, but I know he's got like some sort of a brain tumor or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So Paulie organised like a charity golf day for the charity that deals with that kind of sort of brain tumours and things like that. And so all the boys played. I was gutted that, look, I'm terrible at golf. I'm the worst golfer you've ever seen, but I do like a golf day where there's beers on the back of the buggy, and
it's good fun.
I normally want to pack it in after about 10 or 11 holes, but no, it was great to see all the boys before they went off. And then we went up to the second hole, and it was like a charity hole. So it was like Knightsy was running it because Knightsy doesn't golf. And it was like you had to do like 10 press ups, stand up, down a shot of Jaeger, pick up your club, no practice swing, and it's nearest to the pin. So we were like handing out the shots up at the second hole for all the boys, and we saw them all come through. And it was really good to see everyone. Like, obviously, I see a lot of the boys, not a lot, but semi-regularly, but then people like Dwayne Newman or whatever, I never see, unless it's a golf day. And we have one every summer now that Paulie organises, and all the old boys come back. And
tell Paulie I want a fucking invite.
Well, you didn't put on a shirt, mate. So.
Oh, mate, I'll
But
come.
no, it's
I'll come and be a fluffer. I don't mind. It was just
yeah,
such a good crew of boys you've got up in
it is
MK
an
for that.
unbelievable crew, and you know what it's like, guys. You know, like not this year he didn't come, but like the year before, Kurt came, and Kurt comes around the corner, going, "All right, boys." It's like it's not a posh golf club, it's a decent golf club with like a crate of beer in his hands, and everyone's like, "Hide down around the corner, hide around the corner." Doesn't even drink, but he's got a crate for the lads, and
Great for the boys.
yeah. But no, it's always good to see those guys. Like it was so tight for so long. That you're never really a stranger, you know, and people never will be that were part of it at any point.
Do you think it's kind of missing from MK now? Because I do from the outside looking in.
I can't say what's going on now. I think obviously losing Jamo would have been. You've still got, in my mind, Louis there, who's quite a quiet guy. You know, when he speaks, everyone will listen, but he's not. He's never going to be a rah rah, getting the boys going. You've got Sloth Ross Green, who is, you know, quite a character. And then you've got obviously Nagsy, very quiet, Jordan Headley, very quiet, and then that's it. Sort of everyone else there's now kind of all good guys, as far as I know. All the ones I know are really good guys, but they're all sort of from here, there, and everywhere. You know, and I don't know because I'm not there, but our strength for decades was the same guys being there. And if one guy moved out, another guy came in, but the same 10 or 11 guys were still there. Yeah. So that new guy was just like guy number 12, and he just got added into it, and everything carried on, you know. And you look, and we were actually talking the other day about the shirt retirements, and you've got obviously Paulie, Kazi, G, Bowers, JMO.
Yeah.
And then you're like, who you got left? Maybe Louis and Slot. Yeah. And then probably maybe Griff, to be fair. Griff's been there quite a long time now.
Yeah, true.
But then you look and you go, there might not ever be another one. If that makes sense.
That was the core.
Yeah, because it's like, is anyone going to come there and do 10 years? I don't know. The answer will be the proof will be in the pudding in 10 years' time, I suppose, or 7 or 8 years' time. But that's, you know, I think probably quite rare for a second level team to have that many shirt retirements who are all 100% justified shirt retirements.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Like,
agreed. Yeah,
wouldn't even be like a doubt in anybody's mind. I don't think.
Now, everyone whose shirt's up there, 100% should be up there. And
what about Gary Clark?
Clarkey for points and stuff is never going to get caught by anyone, so probably should be up there.
He should be up there, mate. I played against him the years he was scoring like 65 fucking goals a season. Like, it was ridiculous.
I'm not sure though that, and it's not a criticism. It's just me sort of stating my opinion. I'm not sure that necessarily the people that make those decisions probably even know who Gary Clark is. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a very different place now. If Peter Rouser and Paulie were still running the club, they probably would have brought Clarkey back and honoured him, but like in some way, I don't know.
Mark, what year was what year was the jersey retirement from the guy Bruno on Friday? 61 to 76.
Yeah, something like that.
Some old school fucking legend was there for like 8 titles, whatever. Yeah. But if you look around the jersey retirements, I just wanted to bring it up because of this. So their jersey, the clock's in the middle, like a crisscross. Jerseys go that way, jerseys go this way, jerseys on that side, jerseys on that side. It's like 5, 5, 5, 5. We can see these ones on this side, so we can see like 15. And you look around, and it's very much. It's essentially like McPherson, Jameson, blah, blah, blah. Fucking 61 to 75, 61 to 70. You know, like the crossover between all the guys. Yeah. You can just tell. And that was the team that won 7 championships, 10 medals in like 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, Clarkey's records will never be broken. Like appearances, obviously, like James. I guess Jamo's leading. I think Ross Green will end up leading. I don't know. I haven't looked at that since I left. But Jamo's over 600 games. I know that. Ross Green must be up. He's over 5. Louis over 5. Obviously, Louis a bit older than Ross. So, but points and goals, because, we've got to be fair. Clarkey did play in an era when the EPL used to be 12-11 some nights. But
at the very start, yeah.
But yeah, his records are never getting broken. Like, fact.
Yeah, absolute studs. Have they got any like jersey retirements or anything on the wall down in Chelmsford? Because I wouldn't actually know.
I've never seen any. I admit that I probably should know that, but no, I
can't think that they have.
No one told me like when you're signing players you can't use these numbers or anything like that.
Yeah,
so
no.
Yeah.
Mark, you got anything else for Cliff?
No, you've actually asked some of the questions I wanted to ask.
Sorry,
yeah,
mate, standard.
no worries.
Cliff, what would be deemed a successful season for the Chelmsford Chieftains here on out between now and April?
You know what? We want to win. Like, whether that's a bold statement, like I've said to the boys several times, like, Streatham are the man until they're not the man anymore, right? So,
yeah.
Right. So if you want to win stuff, that's the team you've got to aim for and overtake, right? As far as I see it, that's the way it is. However, Slough are really good, right? Slough,
really good,
in my opinion, the best team we've played. And I told Smiths that, and that's not me like sucking up to Smiths. I was with Smiths a couple of weeks ago in Sheffield, and I said, like, you're the best team we've played. And I said, you've only got one line, really, but fuck me, they're good. Like, and he was like, everyone's only got one line. So it's not a bad point, Smiths. But I think
they buy in that team. I watched them against Oxford, mate, and Mark, was it last episode I talked about it? I was like, they're fucking good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Slough. I don't know if it'll be the league, but I said I would not want to play in MK and have my semi-final on the Saturday be the Slough Jets.
No.
Fuck that.
They don't
turn up and work.
They don't have a single player on their team that doesn't skate, right? Every other team in the league does. Yeah. Every other team in that league has players not like don't work. Everyone works hard on every team, really. Like, but not that have the athleticism and the work rate all rolled into one like most of the Slough boys do, which is
still young,
nothing less
right?
than you'd expect from a team that's coached by Smiths, right?
Yeah, still young guys. They work hard.
But as far as I'm concerned, Tyson Fury's still the champ till someone beats him, right? Even if he's a bit inactive and whatever. Streatham are the standard, and if you get the better of Streatham, you should probably win the league.
You're definitely going to be there or thereabouts.
If you're going to be there or thereabouts, so that's the standard we've got to achieve. Can we do that in the first year? I don't know. Like, come and see me in April and I'll tell you. But there's 4 chances to win a trophy now because they've introduced that second cup.
The Who Cares Cup, that's right.
Well, it's like the cup for teams that wanted to play extra games, right?
I get it as well.
Yeah. It's like the I understand that it's not a 2-tier league, but some teams in the league can't commit to the extra games. They struggle to get ice time as it is, and if you force extra games on them, you'll just end up with less teams in the league. Mm-hmm. So you're better off going, all right, then we'll play these ones, and that first one away and home is a cup like it's always been, and then we'll have an extra cup for the teams that need the extra games to fill their rink and pay their bills, because we've all got very different business models.
And ultimately, that's what it comes down to, is business models, isn't it? And
absolutely.
I spoke to my brother about why, you're in the fucking cup, the London Cup and the this cup, and this was going back a couple of years now. And he was like, well, you have a certain budget, the rink needs to be paid X amount. They have X amount of hours contracted in for training and games throughout the year. And if we just did the league games, it doesn't fit the quota.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And I don't know how any other club, I didn't know how Chelmsford worked like 3 months ago, right? I've got a bit of a grasp on it now. I don't know how Streatham runs Invictus, but I would say us, Invictus, Streatham, probably Oxford commercially are probably very similar.
Yeah.
But that is a million miles, and I know from experience from how MK Thunder operate, like a million miles. So the Gosport probably somewhere in the middle, I'd guess, and Romford are more of a junior team with some really good prospects that I don't know if they pay to play or if they, but I doubt they get paid. Probably playing for free is their payment, I imagine. But they've got some really good young players, and yes, it's making it work for everyone. It's the same in that league above, though, mate. Difference commercially between,
Bracknell and MK.
Yeah, Bracknell. There you go. Bracknell and MK are poles apart, but somehow you just make it work. Bracknell were having a really good season from what I can make out.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
And fair play to them, because 2 years ago, last time I was in there, it was pretty dead.
Oh, mate, it's still dead, so I don't know how the fuck they're doing it.
Well, yeah, but hats off to them. Do you know what I mean? Dolman, obviously, Shep's behind the scenes sorting stuff out for them, but yeah, and it's the same every league you go to, even like NIHL 2. I know, like my nephew plays for Haringey, and they're a pretty big deal.
They're packed out
every night. And then at the other end, you've got Lee Valley, and only 100 people are allowed in, let alone could they get more.
Oh yeah, what about that? We haven't had an update about that. Well done, Cliff. We're gonna try and get a little bit more of an update on that, because we did a video about that in the summer. Imagine you fucking open a twin pad facility and it doesn't have any car parking.
It's just,
it's the most crackhead thing I've ever heard of.
But I feel for them, because how are they ever going to attract players? How are they ever going to be anything other than the worst team in the south of England if they can't get people in to pay money and try and raise
you got to get your kit on the bus. You got to drive to some random car park and hope there's a train station, a tube station near there. Walk with your kit, get on the fucking tube, to then go to the rink, to then hope the game doesn't run late and you can get your tube back across town with your kit. Otherwise, you're in an Uber and you have to pay to play.
Five Flyers and Sheffield Steelers are not the same thing, right?
No.
Bracknell Bees and MK Lightning are not the same thing, and it's the same every league you go to. So you have to accommodate each other, or the league, like you'll end up with 4 teams in each league. You'll have 20 leagues with 4 teams each of similar sort of size clubs and stuff, and that's never going to work for anyone. So you have to make it work, mate, one way or another.
All right. Mark, anything else?
No, I just wanted to say, actually, I'm glad that you came back into coaching after that spell off. I think British hockey needs that.
Well, thanks, mate.
I agree. Mark, Cliff, one final one from me.
Yep.
I know you're enjoying your fucking Sundays off and getting to go and do the football and that. Would you say never if a National League job came calling once again and it was the right job with the right fit?
I would never say never, but I don't think I would ever put all my eggs in one basket again.
Right, that makes sense.
After the way everything went, and I was working like 60, 70 hour weeks, and it all comes crashing down quite abruptly 4 days after a playoff final loss, admittedly. I'd never say never. I think if I did ever do it, I would probably just want to be the coach. So I deal with players, I do practice, I do games.
No apartments, no buses, no fucking shirt off the back, none of that shit. That's
just like rock up almost like a player does, like I do now. And I'm really enjoying it, because I literally get there an hour before practice, talk to a couple of guys I need to talk to, like put my skates on, do practice, get out of there. If guys want to talk to me, they can call me in between times. If not, I'll see them on Thursday or I'll see them on Saturday. And I'd never say never, but it would probably have to be the right fit and not like take over my entire life for, let's be honest, not the most amount of money in the world.
Very true.
Yeah,
it's very true. Right, Cliff, best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Man. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Ladies and gents, make sure you subscribe, follow, and do all the good stuff. Share this episode, especially you Chieftains fans. You're going to want to be hearing what your coach has got to say. Stay tuned for Road Tripping episode 5, Vienna, Brno, and Bratislava coming this week. We will see you for another episode very, very soon. Peace.
Peace.